Welcome to Flakes. On Signature TV, I am Charles Pius. The All Progressives Congress, APC in Enugu, has lashed out at Governor Pitamba over the ongoing demolition of property in parts of Enugu for the construction of the proposed bus terminals. The party, which conducted a tour of the demolition site in the state's capital, described the exercise as ill-conceived and an economic terrorism on the people of Enugu State. Addressing newsmen during the tour of the demolition site on Tuesday, the state chairman of the party, Chief Ugochukwu Agbala, called on the House of Representatives to invoke its powers to set up an administrative panel of inquiry to stop the demolition and ensure that commensurate compensation to not only landowners, but also those whose businesses were destroyed. There was near pandemonium at Abapanike, Enugu on Tuesday evening following a clash between the state task force enforcing government's ban on the activities of plastic and the iron scavengers. Reports said the task force members were trying to prevent the loading of suspected stolen and vandalized items into the trailer at the dump site located at Wall Street, Abapanike, Enugu, leading to the confrontation and eventual clash. A vehicle belonging to the task force was also set ablaze by the scavengers, while people in and around the Abapa market and Texaco area of Abapanike took to their heels to avoid being caught in the ensuing crisis. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has condemned the vandalism of the superstructure at the Second Niger Bridge. In a statement signed by Oji Uchenna, his special advisor on media, Tuesday in Abuja, Umahi described the act as cruel and cowardly. He expressed deep shock that reports of the vandalism were still being recorded in spite of the presence of the private security outfit deployed to the area. Umahi said Second Niger Bridge is one of the projects intended to bridge the gap in the road infrastructure and boost economic activities by expanding access into the southern part of the country. The Nigerian Labour Congress has described the federal government's silence on the April 3rd electricity tariff hike as disappointing. NLC disclosed this in its communique on Tuesday after its National Executive Council meeting, where it suspended its indefinite strike for 1 week. It expressed disappointment over the government's silence and lack of concrete action regarding the reversal of the electricity tariff hike and the abolition of the apartheid classification of electricity consumers into bands. Meanwhile, public and civil servants returned to work on Tuesday following the 1 week suspension of the nationwide strike by organized labor. Correspondents who visited the federal and state secretariats in Enugu were reports that the workers are fully on ground for their normal activities. A cross-section of the civil servants who spoke to Signature TV commended the labor leaders for their fearlessness in facing the federal government. The Benue State House of Assembly on Tuesday extended the tenure of the chairman of the caretaker committees for the 23 local government areas in the state for another 6 months. This followed a letter sent to the House by Governor Hyacinth Alia and read on the floor of the House during plenary by the Speaker, Hyacinth Dajo. The letter indicates that the tenure of the current caretaker chairman is scheduled to expire on June 5th, 2024. Hamas says it will not agree to hostage swap deal unless Israel clarifies permanent ceasefire and total withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. A senior Hamas official, Osama Hamadan, said on Tuesday night at Lebanon, Hamas had received the latest deal proposed by Israel and the U.S. It said some statements in the three-phase proposal, such as mediators, will ensure that negotiations can continue indefinitely until both parties reach an agreement, do not align with U.S. President Biden's May 31st speech, in which he mentioned achieving a permanent ceasefire between both parties. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden landed in France on Wednesday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day Day on a trip designed to underscore his commitments to U.S. allies in Europe and contrast his vision of democracy with his 2024 political opponent, Donald Trump. Biden will spend 5 days in France and attend D-Day celebrations in Normandy, where U.S. and Allied forces stormed French beaches in an attack that helped defeat Nazi Germany in World War II, as well as deliver a high-profile speech and hold a formal state visit with President Emmanuel Macron. While in Normandy, Biden will sit down for talks with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky about the war efforts to repel Russian invaders. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told reporters aboard the presidential flight to Paris. Amanda Knox arrived at a court in Italy on Wednesday for another trial as she tries to overturn a conviction for slander, the last outstanding case against her following the notorious killing of a British student in 2007. Italy's top court in 2015 annulled Knox's conviction for the murder of her British flatmate Meredith Kercher in the city of Perugia, capping nearly a decade of courtroom drama during which she had twice been found guilty. The brutal stabbing of 21-year-old Kercher and multiple trials provided fodder for tabloids on both sides of the Atlantic and inspired books and films. The former Green Eagles captain and Rangers international Christian Chukwu has described the death of teammate Stanley Okoronkwo as a sad loss. Reports say that Okoronkwo joined Rangers International in 1974 and retired in 1979 after Rangers won the then African Cup Winners' Cup in 1977, died on Monday after a brief illness in Enugu. Chukwu said in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria in Enugu that he and other club mates would sorely miss Stanley Okoronkwo, whom he described as a personal friend. Also speaking, the former chairman of the Rangers Supporters Club in the 70s, Hyginus Ilonu, lamented the death of Okoronkwo, whom he said was one of Rangers' best players ever. And that's News Flakes this hour. I'm Charles Pius. Thanks for watching.